All right, we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. I think we're live. Yes, live streaming now. Yes, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. It's rainy and quite fresh for a May date here in Sweden, but well, it's gonna be better next week. So I hope everybody is having a fantastic week. We're nearly getting towards the end of the week and working week. And today I wanted to talk about 4 questions that you can ask yourself, which really could help when you are exposed to some new information to help you process the information, being more present. I think it's really important. Sometimes when we are sitting in front of Zoom calls or Microsoft Teams calls, we might lose focus, lose attention, etc. So I thought it was interesting to find ways for me to help you, put yourself back into focus mode and really not miss what the conversation is about. But even if you're just reading a piece of paper and you see that your mind is wandering away, so we're going to go through these 4 questions. Actually, it's 5 questions. And before we jump in, though, I wanted to remind you that next week I'm running this free masterclass about stop procrastinating and achieving massive results. And I'm really excited that we have quite a lot of registrations already. So there's a few spots still available. So I really encourage you to reserve your seats. It's going to be on the 12th of May at 3 p.m. Central European Time. If you can't make the specific time, still register, because I can then send you the recording of the webinar. And then, of course, I welcome your feedback and see, if you want me to do another one in a time zone that maybe fits better your needs, and if I can accommodate that. So please feel free to register, send me email, send me a DM, so I know that you're interested, but maybe the time doesn't work. But first thing, go and register there. I'm gonna put the link in the show notes here. So that's going to be next week. And so today we're talking about the questions that can help you process information, make meaning of the information that you're exposed to, and really apply to a lot of situations that you might encounter. So the first questions that we can ask ourselves is really, what did I just hear? So you put yourself into this open-minded mindset of, what is it that has just been said? And what is that I just learned, right? So we are opening ourselves up to really processing the information at a very different level versus passively just listening to something or having read something. So what did I just learn is the first question that I encourage you to ask yourself every time you're exposed to situations that might, any situation we might want to learn from. So let's keep that open mind. The second question we can ask ourselves is, how does this new learning relate to what I already know, right? So now I understand what I'm hearing, what I read, what I'm seeing, and how does this relate to what I already know? Beautiful way of processing to the next level the information we've just been exposed to, because it allows us to tap into our own knowledge and into our own wisdom and compare it to what we just heard. Not in a self-critical way or in a judging, comparative mode, but more really from an open-minded perspective. How does this relate, right? The word relate really opens up to the possibility to integrate this new information on top of what I already know about this subject. The third thing is the third question that we can ask ourselves is, what were the main themes that I have read, listened, observed, watched? Yeah, so really we can identify some categories under which we can cluster the different type of information that we just had. It's really interesting because sometimes we might just remember one thing while we ask ourselves to make the extra effort to actually categorize the things into different buckets. It will enhance our learning capabilities even further, right? I'm not just looking at it from a unidimensional perspective, but I'm questioning, are there other elements of this? I love to use this approach when I'm watching a webinar, for example, because this allows me to really pick up, spend those 5 minutes maybe afterwards or even right when you're there to really start thinking, okay, there is from this perspective, but there is also this element of nonverbal or other really dimensions. So really spending the time to understanding how we can cluster the information. What are the main themes? What are the categories that I can identify in the information that is just being delivered? And then asking the question, why are these themes, these categories important, right? So then we go into the next level. Why do I think they're important? Why do they stick in my mind? What can I make out of them? So really asking ourselves this question, why are these themes important? Why is this thing important here? What does it tell me? Why does it relate to me, right? Why does it resonate with me? So we can bring it back to us, into our values, into our, to our principles. So why are these themes important, and why are they not important, right? They don't all need to be important, but asking ourselves the question, are they important? I've been practicing a lot of the bullet journal methods recently. And this is really one of the questions that the author really recommends you to do, right? Because you're going to have to transport this information to a new journal, like future log or the monthly log or whatever. And by reevaluating what you just written into, is this relevant enough for me to waste the time, spend the time, invest the time to rewrite it, to transfer it, to migrate, or should I just scrap it out? I don't know if you know the method of a bullet journal. Is a really fascinating book, very, very much for millennials, I would say. So it's probably younger age bracket than myself. But I actually think there is a lot of interesting details there that I picked up and I am applying on a daily basis. So why are these themes important? And then the last question we can ask ourselves every time we are exposed to new content, new material is, what further questions do I have, right? We don't want to be immediately satiated with the information that we have. We want to go a step further, right? So what further questions would I have? Because that allows us to open up even further to possibilities and to information, to appetite to learn something more. So I've just processed this information. I understood, how it relates with what I already know. I categorized and grouped it into main themes. I asked myself, why are these themes important? And now, what else do I want to know? What questions do I have about these themes? Fascinating, those 5 questions that you can ask yourself to really keep yourself focused. As I said, sometimes we get distracted and a little bit bored. So if we put ourselves into having a task to complete, we're going to be paying more attention. That's how what happens is that we direct our brain to focus on something. So I have to listen to what I'm hearing because I have to answer this question, right? And so that's really how we stimulate our brain to stay focused, stay present, and give us the opportunity to learn something new. Having said that, next week is this masterclass, which I think you could apply those methods. Actually, there's also worksheets that you will download when you register to the event. You will receive an email with a worksheet to download so that you can really follow through in the webinar, and I don't allow you to lose focus in that context. So go to covone.se/masterclass to register to reserve your spot and register your interest in the masterclass about stop procrastinating. And I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful end of the week.